Hey there, fellow horse lovers. Welcome back to the Daily Ride podcast. My name is Morgan. I am your host, and I am really excited to get into part 2 of 2 with my interview with Noche again on season 2 of the Daily Ride podcast. In this interview, we are diving into all things about her new book, her faith, her positive reinforcement adventures, and her Guinness Book of World Record accomplishment. And I had such a blast talking to Noche. I am super excited to get into it. If you haven't checked out part 1 of this interview, go ahead and look at last week's podcast episode to get caught up, and then come right on back. As always, the Daily Ride podcast supports True Heart Healing. True Heart Healing is my nonprofit, and I am specifically training my horse, True Heart, to be able to assist me in our mission, which is to leverage the healing power of equine partnership and the joy of equine companionship to support and empower children with disabilities or life-altering illnesses, service members, veterans, and their families, and build stabilizing relationships with them, facilitate their learning and their personal growth, help them find hope, and discover their purpose in life. If this sounds like something that you want to get behind and support, please head on over to www.the-daily-ride.com to check us out and make a donation. True Heart and I so deeply appreciate your support. You mentioned Rusty, and you have recently earned a Guinness World Record. Tell me about
Yes.
that.
Well, he set the record for the most tricks by a horse in 3 minutes. Our good friend, whose name I can't pronounce, Neil, I don't know how she pronounces it, but she's wonderful. She's in Australia. She set the record a couple years ago for the most tricks by a horse in 1 minute. And
Wow.
I love competition. I thought it would be fun to try to beat her record. She did a really good job. It would be hard to beat.
Was she the one that has honey?
Oh, I don't know. She's got a little gray mini. And a sheep. She did it at the same time with her mini and a sheep, both
Okay.
for most tricks by a horse and a sheep in 1 minute. And she is just an excellent trainer, and she did a really good job. I thought it would be fun to try to beat her record. My husband thought that was mean. And so Guinness offers 1 and 3 minute increments. So instead of trying for the 1 minute, we went for the 3 minute. And they said it had to be enough tricks to, it has to be more impressive than the 1 minute set. And we managed to maintain the same number of tricks per minute for 3 minutes as what she did in 1 minute.
Wow.
So it's 33 tricks in 3 minutes. And she did 10 or 11 tricks in 1 minute.
Wow.
It's hard because you use up all the really fast tricks in the first minute.
Mm-hmm,
The ones that you can do like holding still. So you have to fit more movement in there and still manage to keep the momentum going. So it took us a long time, especially because I misread the rules or missed a spot in there. Again, I'm not good at rules. I don't follow them very well. I thought they said that with Ghost, they said I could not hand feed her. Ghost is my cow. We have the record for most tricks by cow in 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
So with her, I was not allowed to hand feed during the record attempt.
What?
Well, no touching, no contact.
No
If there was
touching.
any contact, she had to initiate it.
Okay.
So we did fist bump, and I had to hold my hand there and let her come up and meet my hand.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, how do you do hug and kiss and stuff?
Well, with Rusty, still no, I can't initiate the contact. We did hug as one of our tricks. I carefully worked on his cue being me holding my arms up with no actual contact, and he brings his head around and hugs, and he makes the contact.
Got it.
So that was a little complicated, but it became a lot less complicated once I realized that I could feed him throughout.
Okay.
And the feeding slows down the time, but makes him much less stressed because he tends to get stressed. And when he gets stressed, he drops.
And that would be awkward with company.
Yeah, exactly. And if they share the video, they make up their little video, Guinness does. And I really didn't want him to be dropped all the way through. So we were working hard on not dropping, not stressing him at all. And once food was involved, that became a lot easier. So we just had to work out how we could get all these tricks in a row in the fastest way possible. And that took a couple of years, actually.
How long have you been working on this?
On the Guinness thing, since Ghost and I finished our record, I was hoping to do it the next year. That was in the spring of 23.
Okay. That's not too long. I mean, considering you've written an entire book.
Well, there is that. But he already knew all the tricks. I mean, he can do that number of tricks and so many more. But we had to get tricks that were allowed by Guinness. Everything has to be approved. So he does this thing where you pretend to sneeze and he pulls the handkerchief out of your pocket and hands it to
Yes.
you.
True does that too.
They said we couldn't do that.
Why?
I have no idea. But that one was not approved. And we can't do, well, he'll bounce a ball off his nose. He comes up and meets the ball. You're not just like throwing a ball at your horse, but yeah, we couldn't do that. We couldn't count numbers. He can recognize, 1, 2, and 3. And he can recognize letters, and we couldn't do that either. Those have to be most numbers recognized by a horse or most letters recognized by a horse. But we couldn't do them with all the other tricks.
Okay.
I'm not sure how they qualify these things. I mean,
Hmm.
it is a trick, but not good enough, apparently.
Interesting.
And there's things that we obviously can't do, like he helps me hang out laundry. I like to hang our laundry out on the line to dry. When I started teaching him this, I started using things that weren't our actual laundry. I'd take old towels and stuff and use that. But I really don't care if there's horse slobber on our laundry and the rest of the family doesn't offer to do the laundry, so they don't get a choice in the matter.
Right. You don't want horse slobber hanging up yourself.
Exactly. So I'll bring the clothes basket out and he picks the clothes up out of the basket and hand them to me, which is a really fun trick. It's one of my favorites. But for obvious reasons, we couldn't fit that into a 3-minute run through going as fast as
Right.
we could.
Right.
So after we narrowed the tricks down to things that he could do and that we could get together really fast, then we had to put them in order so that they flowed as fast as possible.
I was going to ask, did you have to choreograph this? Sounds like
Yes. Huge amount of choreography. So I have a bridge, that they're willing to count as a pedestal. He can stand on a much bigger pedestal. But for speed purposes and ease of the flow of the tricks, I used my bridge. So I could stand him on the bridge and do a bunch of things that require holding still, like fist bump and kiss and smile and say yes, ring a bell, paint, play a piano, pick a card. Trying to think what else we did there, but just all those things that we could do holding still. So I stood him on the bridge and they'll count front feet, all 4 feet and hind feet separately. So stood 2 feet on the bridge, did some tricks, put all 4 feet on the bridge, did some tricks. Stepped him off the bridge, so just his hind feet were on the bridge, did some tricks, just so there was definite pause and we were at those points.
right.
But that was the easy part. That's the part that we might be able to fit into 1 minute if we should decide to try to beat her record.
Right, because he's just standing still.
Yeah. So the lack of movement lets things go really fast. But then we had to get through things that required movement. Altogether, we could do like hug. And in the middle of the hug, he could pull a rubber chicken out of my back pocket. So that puts those two things together really quick. And then I can take the chicken and drop it. And he does fetch. So there's 3 tricks that just really flow together nicely and can be performed quickly all together. I had those in a different spot in our choreography, and I moved them because I thought they would fit better, and that stressed him completely. So we had to spend a month just letting that be okay and relaxing him. Rusty is a perfectionist. I know that's anthropomorphism, but horses have feelings and emotions too. We have to do a little bit of that sometimes.
Yeah,
So
and they're complex. I
they
don't think we
are.
give horses enough credit.
Not even close. They're individuals. They are not just the training that we put into them. Everybody says, "Oh, we don't need to look at Whorls. We'll just train the horse." Well, great. But I mean, this is a very individual and unique horse that we're training. So he gets very stressed when I change things and when he doesn't understand exactly what is being asked of him. And we were back to dropping again. So we spent another month or so working through that and getting him calm and relaxed. So yes, every change we made came with its own difficulties, even as it fixed other things. And it took a long time to get it all together. But we finally did. And then I was about to start calving. The cows were due to start the end of March. And once we start calving, I'm busy with that. I don't have time to mess around with horse tricks, not to the scale that it takes to get people together to do the record attempt.
Yeah, because you have
So,
babies hitting the ground.
well, yes, we had some coming fairly early, so we were getting some babies by the time we did the attempt. I was out. Rusty and I went out the morning of the attempt and we were pairing out. Well, pairs. So we spent the morning working cows, ate lunch, took a break, and then went and did the record attempt. But it helped him chill and use up some energy and be more ready to go when the time came.
Yeah, that's a more normal day for him, I'd imagine.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So, yeah, we spent months working on tricks. We did the attempt and then we went straight into capping. Didn't work on another trick for the next month.
Well, I would imagine it's nice to have that kind of distraction, though. So, I mean, because it takes a while to hear back on whether you got it or not, right?
It does. With Ghost, it was 3 months. So I wasn't expecting to hear anything until the middle of June. With Rusty, it was the beginning of May. They came back a lot quicker than I had expected.
Wow.
So that was
Very
quite a surprise. But you have to just put it out of your mind and forget completely, or else it drives me crazy waiting to
mm-hmm.
hear back and see what
Mm-hmm.
happened.
Checking, refreshing your email. Yeah. I would be
I
guilty.
I did. I got into a really bad habit just checking email constantly all day long, waiting.
What does the record attempt look like? How many people were out there observing and filming?
Well, you have to have, well, first you have to have the horse vet checked, like basic health papers, but they want to know age and breed and passport. We don't have passports here in the US, so
A
we have to work
passport
around
for a
that.
horse?
Yeah, in Europe. Yeah, in Europe, they have horses have passports, and it's a
What?
very common thing, like health papers here, I think.
Huh.
So,
Okay.
because Guinness is based out of England, they want passports. I'm like, well, I can give you health papers and registration papers. Hopefully, this
Yeah,
will be good
yeah.
enough.
Okay.
Apparently, it is. It was good enough. And my vet is very patient. I had to explain to her once with Ghost what was going on. I need you to look at my cow and say that she's healthy.
We're going for a world record and tricks.
Yeah, these things are really hard to explain to people. So I went to the same vet. I like my vet. She's very good.
So she knows the drill.
Yeah, she knew the drill. She was like, yeah, yeah, just
This is you
here.
again.
Very patient. She's very patient. I've also asked her about whorls before. I'm like, so what's under this whorl right here? Can you explain that to me? Yes, she's very patient. Good vet. Got to hang on to those good vets.
Yeah.
So, yes, had to have health papers from the vet ahead of time. I wasn't required to have a vet on hand, just the vet papers. And then you have to have at least two timers and at least two witnesses. And then above and beyond that, people to help film and take pictures and anything else that you need. And they want people who are upstanding members of the community. That was the hard part. I don't know people who are upstanding members of the community.
You're like, I'm just friends with Riff Raff.
Well, yeah, I mean seriously, what do you consider an upstanding member of the community?
Yeah, how do you define that? Do they check?
Well, I don't think so.
I see here there
But
was some drama with the HOA. You're disqualified.
yes, exactly. So I found every friend I could find that was of good repute. At least didn't seem too terrible outright. Yes, I found all my good friends, invited lots over so that we would have, more than enough just in case. Because sometimes people can't make it at the last minute or
Yeah, yeah.
who
So you
knows.
have to supply this whole entourage. They don't come with it.
You can pay them a considerable amount and they'll send people. But
Yikes.
this doesn't make any money for me. I'm not a business doing publicity or anything. It's just something I wanted to do to prove to myself and to Rusty that we
Hmm.
could do this, that he could do this, let everybody know that he is the coolest horse ever.
Obviously.
So, yes, we weren't going to pay thousands of dollars for them to send somebody out. So, we got together all our friends. I've got, well, friends who own businesses and friends who are horse show judges and things like that. So, got them all out. And yeah, and then there's all this paperwork. They have to fill out like pages of paperwork. That's harder than the tricks, is getting all the paperwork right. I wasn't afraid that we hadn't accomplished the record because Rusty didn't do the tricks. I knew he did the tricks. I was afraid that we would be disqualified somehow in the paperwork.
Oh,
It's just, or that some trick wouldn't count because
it
of the
wasn't
same
allowed or
reasons.
some rule.
Yeah, that part's the scary part.
Yeah. But they got back to you quickly and y'all are winners.
Yes, we did it.
Congratulations.
Yay, good Rusty. He's a good boy.
Yeah. Was there ever any doubt? So, how many tricks does he know in total?
I can't even begin. I mean, because, well, for one thing, a lot of tricks are just the same trick applied in different ways. To me, every trick is fetch, stand on a pedestal, or targeting. Targeting is when you ask your horse to touch an object with their nose or any body part.
Yes.
So we're just applying those basic tricks in lots of different ways. So, I mean, fetch is the same trick as painting, is the same trick as picking a card, is the same trick as roping, because Rusty can rope. You give him a rope and he puts it on the roping dummy. But
Mm-hmm.
to me, those are all just fetch.
Mm-hmm.
And then rolling a barrel is targeting, rolling out the carpet is targeting, playing the piano is targeting. It's, yes, touching things with his nose. So, I mean, we can apply that in an endless number of ways, but it's still the same foundation trick. So I have a lot of trouble differentiating between what trick is a different, is counts as a new trick.
Yeah. I like how you break it apart. That makes it seem much less overwhelming. Um, your Horse Tricks Club has been an amazing resource, and I love it because I've been able to send the link to my cousins and have them kind of browse, like, okay, pick something that I can teach True this next weekend or something.
Oh,
They're long distance, so they don't get to spend much time with her aside from once or twice a year when they visit. So it's nice to kind of have that library of the different iterations of things. But I think for myself, being able to simplify it, and like you said, like each trick is just a different variation on those main themes, targeting, fetching, that makes it seem much less overwhelming. Like, oh, we already know these things. I can just build in this extra piece.
yes. Well, that's the goal, is to make it not overwhelming. We want to make it as simple as possible. And really, it is very simple. It's just fun. It's not complicated. It's not hard. It's just us going out and having fun with our horses.
That brings up a great point. What advice would you give someone who's wanting to get into trick training with their horse for the first time?
Well, obviously, to join the Horse Tricks Club. But above and beyond that, positive reinforcement works wonders. It's absolutely amazing what we can do aside from teaching tricks. Trick training it covers everything else. It's disguised as a fun, silly little thing. But in reality, trick training can fix almost every training problem we're having with our horse. It trains horses. I mean, I've started a few horses to ride in their riding training by teaching tricks. When I started riding Rusty, I don't have a round pen or any good facilities here for horse training. I don't have an arena. I taught him forward by chasing a ball, big
Hmm.
inflatable bouncy ball from Walmart. And I'm on this horse with one ride on him, and he's stepping on it and pawing it and chasing the ball around. I was afraid the ball was going to pop the whole time. But other than that, it was a wonderful way to get forward on a horse that I didn't have the ability to get forward on from any other way. So trick training is everything disguised as a game.
And for Rusty, he was really difficult. I mean, he was perfectly happy to be with you, but very difficult to take direction from. So I think when I'm thinking back
Yeah.
to you telling me that story, like, okay, what a great, fun way to get forward and also kind of trick him into, oh, it's actually kind of fun to work with her. We're doing
Yes.
something interesting. Maybe I want to listen.
We're having fun together and sneaking actual learning in without
Right,
anybody realizing that we're studying these difficult lessons.
right, right.
With Rusty, within a month, I hopped on him bareback one time without any bridle or anything, threw his rubber chicken, and here I was riding this colt bareback and bridleless. That was him. That was who he was. I would not do that on most horses. The young one that I'm starting right now, probably not. But because of his temperament, I was able to do that sort of thing. But no matter the temperament, we can sneak those big important lessons in by having fun. By teaching tricks, I taught Rusty manners. By hand feeding him, I taught him not to bite. I mean, there was no force, there was no hitting anybody involved. It was just, he thought we were playing a fun game. And by bypassing the usual training, we can take horses with really bad habits and build whole new neural pathways in their brain and fix the problems without them even realizing that we're working on them.
Yeah. And without getting in a fight.
Oh, yes, avoiding those fights is big.
Yes. Yeah. Horseboy, I was reading their mission was to eliminate the notion that learning is always associated with suffering.
Well, that's so big. Yeah.
And hearing you talk about like, yeah, we're sneaking in hard lessons into playing games. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the same thing where it's like learning should be a game. It should be fun.
For
It
horses
shouldn't
and
feel
humans.
hard.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love for me anyway, like I feel like I am an introvert disguised as an extrovert. I'm well aware of the size difference between me and True. And because of that, I hate punishing her. I'm a bit of a softie. I hate and I also have a hard time with it. Like I'm not a lay down the law my way or the highway kind of person. And so it's really hard for me to try and embody that. I've worked on it and I think as I've developed my confidence, like I have a little bit more presence. So like True might think twice before trying it with me in the first place now. Maybe that's the mom look that I perfected, but it's so much more relaxing for me to just play a game with her and see what she offers.
Well, punishment is a wild card. When we punish something, we never know what we're going to actually get in terms of behavior.
Mm,
I mean, it doesn't put a stop to the things we're trying to stop. Hitting a horse is never going to make them not do the thing. Instead, it's going to make them head shy. It's going to make them not like us. It's going to cause all sorts of things that we aren't expecting. Punishment just makes the one who is doing the punishment feel better. Briefly, personally, if I ever lose my temper or end up yelling at kids or horses, I always feel much worse in the long run. But in the short run, it makes the punisher feel better. Whereas rewarding a behavior, we know that any behavior that is rewarded will be repeated. That's just, I mean, it's a rule through everything in life. Now, the behavior has to actually be rewarded. Just because we think we're rewarding it doesn't mean that the thing being rewarded feels rewarded. So it has to be something that they feel to be rewarding. And then you are guaranteed 100% that behavior will be repeated.
Yeah, so your rewards have to matter.
Yes, they have to matter, which is where training children is difficult because you have to find a reward that actually matters. Horses are so much easier.
Usually food and scratches.
Yes, food and scratches. When we're training something, yeah, I always combine them both. If the horse does something absolutely amazing, get handfuls of cookies and tons of scratches.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like with people, we have different love languages, different, jackpot versus nice to have rewards. And like you keep saying, horses are individuals. So it makes sense that they have different preferences.
Yeah, and different things are going to be rewarding to them. For Rusty in the summer, he could care less about food. He wants his stomach scratched. Those flies get down there and they bite the bottom of his belly and it itches really, really bad. And he wants scratches more than anything in the whole world. And he has terrible scratch manners, actually. He's got really good food manners. He doesn't try to bite. He doesn't stick his nose on you. All the rude things people expect when we hand feed horses. None of that. But he will come and plant himself in front of you with the part he wants scratched and like demand to be scratched. And I don't fix it because I find it very amusing. But
if you wanted to fix it, how would you go about doing that?
I would teach him scratch manners the same way I did teach him treat manners because he bit also when I got him. So there were some definite issues there. Yeah. But
ouch.
You only reward the behavior you want to see more of. If he's planting himself in front of you demanding scratches, you do not scratch. With food or scratches, you ignore. You wait until they're standing quietly, head forward, 4 feet on the ground. For our own safety, sometimes that means the horse is on one side of a fence and we're on the other side. There is absolutely nothing wrong with using protected contact. It's a wonderful thing. So you stand, if they're really, really bad, you stand outside the fence. You wait until the horse is standing for just a split second, 4 feet on the ground, head straight forward. And then you give the reward. I use a clicker in between. I don't use a clicker. I use a marker signal. I cluck with my tongue to let him.
Yes. I don't have enough hands for a clicker.
Oh my goodness, yes. There's too much stuff going on. I can't hold a clicker. So yes, I cluck with my tongue to let him know because giving the treats works really good too. But it's nice to have a marker so we can catch the exact moment they're doing the thing we want. So we wait until they're standing still, not mugging us for treats or scratches, and then give the reward. And if they only get treats or scratches when they're standing still and quiet, not bugging you, then that's what they're going to do. And they learn it really quick. And to whatever degree, Ghost, my cow, will like freeze. You can see her go from holding still to like this statue. She goes stiller than still. You can see even her eyes don't move. I think she's holding her breath. And I don't encourage that level of stillness, but it's kind of fun when she offers it.
She just added it.
Yes.
I'm being the most still possible. Give me all the rewards.
Yes, and she gets them. Good girl that she is.
What do you do if, I guess I'm kind of asking because I've got a puppy with a very short attention span during what we call raptor hour, which is really just her getting overly tired and needing a nap. But I see it in True sometimes too, where there's that level of frustration, like when you're waiting for the behavior, because that's really the thing. You want to wait and then capture them doing it and mark it so they're like, oh, that was the right answer.
You do.
But sometimes both Junie, my pup, and True will start like offering all kinds of like wiggling and weird behaviors and head tossing. And like they just keep squirming around, doing the most, getting more frustrated. How do you respond to that?
That's something we want to avoid at all costs. We don't want to get them to get frustrated. The thing to do is find something you can reward them for, which can either be that split second of stillness. It doesn't need to be a very long time in the beginning. Or we can find something else. If they're bouncing too much like a puppy to get the behavior that you're asking for, find something else you can ask of them. Ask for something
Okay.
with movement. Ask for something that's going to keep them engaged. We don't always get to work on the things we think we want to work on. And sometimes we find much better things to work on that way. Some of my favorite tricks the horse offered, they made up on their own and came up with them. And I just went along with the flow. With horses too, though, I teach a be still cue. I put my hand on their neck and catch, to ask them for the holding still, to tell them that whatever they're offering when they start throwing all those things at you is not what you're after. It's a way to say, no, no, thank you, but not that. Just hold still 1 second. And we'll find the thing that we're actually trying to work on. And that can cut frustration so much. It's the same thing as treat manners. We're teaching them 4 feet on the ground, head forward. When I put my hand on your neck, that's what I'm after. I'm not after all the things you're trying to do. We can just calm down a second.
Right. The trick is to do nothing.
Yes, do nothing. And we need to make that a go-to trick for them, is to do nothing. If we reward that nothing often enough, then instead of pawing and nudging and whatever with their noses and moving all the time, then that holding still will be the thing they do or earn rewards. And we need to be present enough and pay enough attention to catch that holding still and reward it even when it hasn't been asked for. We need the holding still to be how our animals beg for treats.
Yeah. Yes. Still respectful at a distance.
Yes.
Right. Unless you like cuddles. I appreciate cuddles from True. As long as she's not getting into my pockets. I don't care if she rests her chin on my shoulder.
Yes, I like that too. We all train our horses to do the things that we like, don't we?
We do. How has studying positive reinforcement and Whorls this closely changed you as a horsewoman and as a person?
I think I'm much more relaxed because my horses want to be with me all the time and they want to play. I'm not grabbing at them all the time. I'm not asking for things. We just do them. And I think that allows me to see the underlying temperament of horses more clearly than if I am demanding behaviors and respect. I don't demand respect. I scoff at respect. No offense. Yes, horses have to be well behaved, but I don't want respect. I want a well behaved horse who wants to be well behaved. But yeah, I'll probably catch heck for that one. Yes. But my horses, we hardly ever use halters, lead ropes. I let them out of the pen. They come with me. We just do things. And life is so much more simple and so much more relaxed. And all I have to do in exchange for that is hand out cookies once in a while. It's amazing how much more simple life has become.
Yeah. Your focus is hunting the good stuff.
Yes. And because we're looking for the good stuff and because horses can just be themselves, they get to be themselves fully and completely. And I get to see who they are for reals without demanding that they behave in any certain way.
What a gift.
It's fun. It makes life a lot more enjoyable. It makes horse life a lot more enjoyable.
It does. And it reminds me of Brene Brown's work about how, the most courageously vulnerable thing you can do is just show up and let yourself be seen. How cool that your horses feel comfortable showing up and letting you see them.
I sure appreciate it.
Yeah. And I'd imagine it's comforting to know that you can do the same with them.
It is. It's very nice.
Do you ever feel like they judge you?
Yes, I do. Especially if I mess up, I get some side eye. Like, you what? Or if I lose my temper, if I yell or anything, I get some serious judgment because they're so used to not getting any of that. And everybody does once in a while, right? But yes, I do feel that my horses judge me. They are not a judgment-free zone. My horse knows that he's smarter than I am. And he feels that I should listen to him because he knows what's going on here. What do I know? I'm just a silly human.
Yeah. Well, I think the difference is you're receptive to his feedback.
I am. I appreciate it. Keeps me humble.
I would imagine there are probably a couple of listeners that might have a hard time listening to this part of the conversation with us talking about throwing the authority and demanding respect and everything out the window.
Probably.
How do you engage in those conversations? Because I'm sure you've had them where people are like, oh no, you need to make him move his feet. You need to do this. You should do that.
Oh,
what do you say to that?
Yes. Well, I say that my horses stand as an example. I'm not saying that horses don't need to have manners, that they don't need to know how to give to pressure, that they don't need to know all the things that make horses able to live in human society. I mean, there's things horses need to know to keep us safe and to keep them safe. But we don't need to teach those by showing them who's the boss. We can teach them by showing them the behavior that we want and rewarding them for it. I have absolutely nothing against traditional training. It can be done very, very well, and positive reinforcement can be done poorly. If we combine the best of both worlds, though, the results that we get are absolutely amazing. Why not teach a horse to give to pressure with positive reinforcement? I mean, it's important that horses know how to tie. Obviously, they need to know how a halter and lead rope work. I'm never going to not teach a horse how to lead or how to give its head to pressure. But I don't have to yank them around. I don't have to haul on the bridle or the lead rope. I can pick up some light pressure on the lead rope and click and reward when they give to that pressure. And then not only do they understand what pressure means, but it's fun. It's a fun game. We've made it enjoyable for them.
Yeah. And you're not in a fight.
No fights. I hate fighting with horses or children or anything. It's just I hate fighting.
Do you think that there's anything that you can't teach with positive reinforcement?
Not that I found yet. No, I mean, I have a trainer who I absolutely love and greatly admire who lives fairly close to me, and she fixes a lot of rehab horses. And she feels that a lot of the rehabs require, I think, not pure positive reinforcement. And she does an amazing job, and I highly respect and love what she does. And I don't disagree with her. But I haven't found anything yet that a good combination of positive reinforcement and carefully well done pressure and release can't fix.
Yeah. And some people would argue the release is the positive, but I
Uh,
would argue that the pressure shouldn't be unkind.
yes, I'm with you there exactly. It's technically negative reinforcement than reinforcing by the release of pressure. Yes, I have to put that in there
Yeah.
just so. But yes, there's absolutely nothing wrong with pressure. It doesn't have to be escalating pressure. It doesn't have to be beating on the horse pressure. We can just have a steady, constant pressure there, and the horse will learn more than they would if we were using harsh pressure.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I love that you clarified that because, yes, it is negative reinforcement. It is the dinging seatbelt that stops dinging when you click it in.
Yes, it's the fence
So,
being there. And
yes.
like an electric fence, the horse touches it and
Yeah.
they find release by stepping away from it. But also, just a regular fence is still positive punishment, and they are finding
Yes.
release by not pushing on it. We can be that sort of pressure that's just there, steady and constant.
What do you hope your readers will gain from your new book?
Well, I hope that they can not end up with horses who are absolutely unsuitable to the discipline that they're hoping to pursue. I think we need to learn the importance of body whirls and what they can show us and how helpful they can be in finding suitable horses and helping horses find ways of working that are suitable for them.
What advice would you give listeners of this podcast who might be new to horses? Or what advice do you wish that you had when you were younger, aside from patience?
Dang it, that was going to be my answer. I hate patience. It's so hard to be patient. Well, I guess everything comes back to love, doesn't it? It's okay to love your horse. You don't have to show them who's boss. You don't have to try to be big and tough. It's okay to be their friend and to listen to them. Horses, if we're receptive, if we will just listen instead of having to show them who's boss, horses have so much to say.
Yeah.
I grew up with my mom saying, well, this horse said that, and that dog said that. And they really do. My grandma always laughed at her. But if we just listen, they're telling us, they're in the conversation. They're putting in their side of it. We just aren't always there to hear.
Mm-hmm. I think people aren't conditioned or maybe looking to listen as closely as we really should be because they do tell us a lot, don't they?
They do very, very clearly. We just have to listen in their language instead of expecting them to use ours.
Yes. Yeah. And in a way that is love,
Yes,
holding that space for them and listening to understand what they're trying to say, not just to respond or correct.
yes, yes, indeed. My mom also said that we're the ones who choose to work with the horse. They didn't choose to come in here and work with us. Therefore, everything is our responsibility. Any misbehavior on the horse's part is our responsibility. We caused it. And that isn't a burden. That's freedom. Knowing that we were responsible gives us the power to change what we do and therefore change the outcome.
Hmm.
And it's important that we take that responsibility and accept it and just lean into it and make the absolute most of it that we can.
I love that. What a beautiful way to look at it. Like, yeah, it's not a burden, it's an opportunity, it's a gift to be able to do
Yes.
better.
100%.
Wonderful. Okay. So it comes back to listening and love and taking that responsibility on with a joyful heart.
Yeah,
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
my pleasure. It's been good talking to you as always.
I hope you've enjoyed part two of my interview with Noche Miller on this episode of the Daily Ride podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, please like, subscribe, and leave a review for us. I really enjoy making this content for you, and your feedback is super helpful. Again, please head on over to www.the-daily-ride.com to check out what True Heart Healing is all about and make a donation if that's in your heart. Thank you for listening, and until next time, enjoy the ride.